Hey folks, it's another quick book review. I have before me, as you can see, Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. This is, shockingly for me, I'm not sure how it quite came about, the hardback. Yeah, I probably would have preferred the paperback, to be honest, but this is what they had. I'd just been paid. You know how it goes, bad decisions. So yeah, as ever with my hardbacks, first thing I did, whip off the cover, and you get the slightly embossed "You will not break me," the motto of one Dungeon Crawler Carl. And yeah, like, it's a very unusual book, but it's very well done. I've not read anything like it before. I had seen a bit of hype, a bit of praise from people on YouTube and such, but I tend to take such praise with a very, very large pinch of salt due to past mistakes. So I finally went in, and I went in with Dungeon Crawler Carl, book one. It does say on the side somewhere, book one. It's small. I think it should be a lot bigger, because this is, as ever, pet peeve. It's not a complete story. It's it's a good story. It's readable. It's easily consumable, but it doesn't deliver an ending in any way, shape, or form. It just kind of cliffhangers you. And if you're planning on buying the rest of the books and carrying on with the series, then that's fine. I haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet. I'm erring towards no, but I'm probably open to be convinced, to be honest. I'm just not convinced by some of the things the author said at the back of the book. There's a little author interview, and he called himself a pantser. In terms of writing, there's planners and pantsers, in case you don't know. People who plan ahead and people who write by the seat of their pants. He calls himself a pantser, and that worries me, justifiably, I think, because you never know if someone can bring an end. But anyway, this book, obviously, this is about Carl, who you can see in the artwork on the cover there. Now, it's a very strange little tale to get into. So, Carl and his cat, known as Princess Donut, are in his flat, or wherever it is he lives, and the cat goes outside. He can't get the cat back in. It's cold. He grabs a jacket. He slams on a couple of bright pink Crocs, and he goes out after the cat. And whilst he's outside with the cat, wrangling the cat, I should say, aliens make a power play for Earth in everything with a roof, a building, a car, whatever it might be. Anything with a roof just goes flat. And Carl, luckily, and Princess Donut are both outside at the time. They survive, and it's freezing cold outside. And then the alien AI, which plays a huge part in this story, opens up doors leading down into the dungeon, Earth's dungeon, which Earth has now become a broadcastable TV program of dungeon crawling, of fighting for your life and brutal, horrible murders, and it's all rather odd. But this starts you out in that scenario that I described. Like, it takes about as long as I described it to read it, and then you're in the dungeon and you're going. And it's like a video game made into a book. There's levels, there's experience, there's achievements, all the things that any gamer these days would be familiar with. And it's a well-written story. The cat, starting out as just, it's his ex-girlfriend's cat. It starts out as just a kind of a polite fuck you to the ex-girlfriend. He's going to take the cat. The cat becomes sentient very early on in the story, and the full name of the cat is Princess Donut, the Queen and Chunk. And what a name, and what a character, because I do not like cats. I don't like them at all. I'm allergic to them. I find them quite repellent on every level. This was an enjoyable cat character. Princess Donut is fantastic. If you're a cat lover, Princess Donut, the Queen and Chunk is probably like some sort of deity. It's a talking, sassy, badass, magic missile shooting cat. If it can win me over, and you like cats, then you're going to enjoy this book. It starts out as a kind of, if you know, like dungeon-esque games, it starts out very traditionally with goblins and rats and cockroaches, but there's the alien AI that I mentioned earlier that has this kind of way of messing things up in what seems to be a purposeful way. It might not be, but it seems to be purposeful, in that one of the early enemies that Carl and Donut run across is a tribe of lava-spitting, drug-dealing / drug-addicted llamas. And that's a sprinkling of example of the madness that kind of unfolds. It's quite often quite gross in the gore descriptions, not like overly, it's not like trying to be horror or something, it's just quite just gross, I suppose. But along with that, there's multiple times in this book, like a good 4 or 5 times, I think, where I was laughing out loud like a maniac in the corner wherever I was reading this. It really, it does humour well. It kind of fades off a little bit towards the end, but that's by the by. It's as loud and brash as the cover might suggest. It's very unique. It's like I say, it's this combination of video game and book, which I've not come across before, and I did find it quite good, but it did fall into the trap of like it followed the game path, where there's grinding for levels and grinding for experience and such, and that's not something that I would have emulated probably, because that's not like a bonus thing. That's like it's almost like a punishment thing. But anyway, this is all by the by. There's parts in here that, I mean, you look at the cover and that just screams quite child friendly to me, to be honest. The cat, Princess Donut, the Queen and Chunk, the name, the situation, all of it kind of suggests to me it would have done really, really well if it was for kids or young adults. Like, you could have, like, I could have quite easily seen this being that book and being just as good. But there's moments with, like I say, with the gore, and there's also a few moments to adult things like masturbation, and there's the AI seems to have a certain foot fetish, which is bizarre. I don't know if that's leading anywhere or not, but those little things like that, they just take this from being a book I could have shared with my niece and nephew to making it not. I think if I was reading this out loud and they weren't reading over my shoulder, I think I could probably get away with clipping those bits out as I went. But the thought did occur, if it didn't have those bits in, and there's not that many of them, if it didn't have those bits in, I could have quite easily handed this book to my niece and nephew afterwards and said, there's a great little book, and they love cats, so they would have gone berserk for Princess Donut. What else have I got to say? Carl and Donut are dungeon crawlers. They have all the things, all the opportunities to pick what any kind of dungeon crawler game would pick from. Your swords, your bows and arrows, your guns, anything and everything is possible. This is almost like you make up the rules. And the thing that Carl and Donut do a lot of is improvised explosive devices. And they do it a lot. They do it a lot. So much so that it seems to be, I don't know, it seems like a bit like a missed opportunity. With all the options of everything you could have done, you can see he's got a stick of dynamite in his hand. It's kind of implied, I guess, but like every time there's a problem, the solution seems to be, let's make an IED and let's blow it up. But it is what it is. If you like explosions and things blowing up, you'll love it. This all the way through, this book, it's really well done. There's no problem with the printing or the editing or anything like that. It's a really well put together book. But it all the way through in story terms, it just builds and builds and builds and builds. And like I say, when like the ending, it's not really an ending. It's just like you're waiting for the next chapter and it doesn't come. So that is a touch disappointing for me. And like I say, with the author's admission that he's a pantser, I know there's more books out of this already because there's a couple at the back. The next one being Doomsday Scenario. But I have very little faith in a long series, I suppose, especially from authors I don't know. Yes, I have enjoyed the first book, but I wasn't so overwhelmed with it that I can't ignore the second book. And I mean, I've got many, many, many books on my TBR that I've already purchased and I really should get to, rather than going out and finding another book that was a little bit too expensive. But yeah, it's certainly entertaining. It is a dream come true for cat lovers, I assume. Feel free to disagree with me. And there's also a kind of galactic alien conspiratorial subversion, government plotting, like a kind of Game of Thrones-esque bit of space intrigue in there at the end, and it just gave you sprinkles, and it didn't give you any depth in this book particularly. And whilst I'm partially intrigued, I'm also wondering if it means anything at all, because like of all the things that were sprinkled in there, it kind of gave me a little bit of a vibe of Lost. Like, there's no way he's going to follow up on all those points and round them off and tell you what they are and everything. But yeah, for me, continuation, not yet, if maybe not at all. But if you'd like to convince me, I will be, as ever, in the comments. Thanks very much for watching, folks. Farewell.